Okay, you are recording.
Oh dear. All right. So why do we have a district meeting anyway? It's not in the code. Why why bother having a district meeting? Started many years ago because the master and the Grand Lodge in the jurisdiction. So they decided to do it by district meetings. Your district meeting, it should be an open house for your district. It should be a rah-rah event for your district. Yes, the Grand Master is coming in the Grand Line, but this is the chance for you and your lodges to showcase their accomplishments, to honor award recipients. It's a chance to show why your district is great. Um, do you want to um, family, friend, city official, the mayor? You want to invite the local paper. If you invite the local paper, you're going to have to write the article for them and they will edit it. If you don't write an article, they're not going to write it for you. All right. You want to emphasize the positive things going on in your district, successful programs, how's the community service going, all those things. And you can ask past deputies for assistance because they've done district meetings. Hopefully, they've done good district meetings. Okay, it is an opportunity for Grandmaster to meet and greet all the brethren in the district and to meet all those available for the Grand South and the Grand Secretary. And it's also an opportunity for the lodges to ask questions to the Grandmaster and Grand Lodge officers. Please encourage your lodges to ask questions. In our district, we even have seed questions. Seed questions where we try and couch the question so it has to be a narrative answer. It can't be a yes or no. It is not a question that they have probably heard 14 times. When are we going to meet again? Well, the Grand Master can't determine that. That's done by the state of Washington. Have questions that are thoughtful, narrative for this. So nobody apparently seems to like to be the first person to ask the question at a district meeting. And the worst thing, I'm getting your internet connection is unstable. God. Anyway, the worst thing you can have is Grandmaster saying, okay, are there any questions? And have crickets. Bueller? Bueller? So have some seed questions ready. All right. Any other district meetings as you can. See what you don't like being done, what you want to emulate, and what you want to avoid. And start your planning early. Well, this next line, get dates for district meetings and alternates. Yeah, not so much. You're going to have a district meeting time. It's already out. The Grand Master's put them on his calendar. You should be pretty well set up to know when your district meeting is going to be. If there is a huge you need to find a place to hold it. You need to have some food if you're going to have a meal, which I strongly recommend. I also, in my opinion, your cleanup crew should be separate from crews going to do a lot of work. They should be able to get the meal done, go out and enjoy the district meeting as well. All right. You're going to need to send a request for information to your lodges. You're going to want some information. Quick synopsis. There's a letter example in the appendix of the handbook. I've tried to kind of condense it down. It's to the Worshipful Master Lodge Secretary. Return this by a certain date. We want to provide certain information for the Grand Master to give your overall strengths and how Grand Lodge entered apprentice degrees, fellowcraft degrees, Master Mason degrees, and how many Master Mason did the proficiency? Yeah, I think of you. But it's a lot easier for you to get it from the Lodge Secretary. Lodge officers. Elected officers, how many have completed proficiency in lodge management and how many have attended the Grand Lodge Leadership Retreat? There seems to be a direct correlation to a successful lodge and officers doing the proficiency in lodge management and having attended the Grand Lodge Leadership Retreat. Find out that info. It's good to have. What are the greatest strengths of the lodge? How are they going to use it? What's the biggest accomplishments of the lodge? And how are they going to address them? And what are the goals for the next year, and how is the lodge planning to accomplish these goals? These questions actually were designed not just to get information, but to kind of push the masters who hopefully it'll kind of give those worshipful masters a little push to actually think about some of those things. Anyway, and how can provide assistance to your lodge? Submit award recommendations to Grand Lodge early. The only one you're really going to be concerned about is the Grand Master's Achievement Award. All the others are done by the lodges themselves. And if you're going to recommend somebody, make sure they are deserving. Make sure they are somebody who has been a guiding force in his lodge and in the district for a few years, not just what he's done this year. What did he do last year? What he's done the last 5 years. Make sure they're deserving. You're going to have to include a biography of the brother. And remember, you are not required to nominate anybody. If there is nobody out there that you feel is deserving, don't give out the award. It should be an earned award. If you just throw out somebody, you actually dilute the value of the award. Oh yeah, do you want the Grand Master to hand out lodge awards? Make sure you tell him. You want him to hand out proficiency in lodge management certificates? You want him to hand out Hiram awards? Let him know. All right, you need to send out invitations to lodges in your district. Are you going to have youth groups involved, concordant bodies involved? Do they want to give out an awards? If they do, limit them to make sure they add, okay, you 2 minutes to give that award. We talked about getting a location, fellowship hall big enough to accommodate everybody. And if you are going to get it, contact the temple board scheduler, not the worshipful master of the lodge. Avoid little faux pas going up and finding out that DeMolay has the state core coming the same time. All right, finalize the food. Who's going to do the make sure you have a pretty good meal. Who's going to shop prep? Who's clean up? Suggestions to do during your district meeting. The reason we have this is apparently a couple of district meetings skipped a few items that should have probably been included, such as introducing the anyway, have a written agenda for your meeting. Absolute must, like every other meeting. Have a printed program for the attendees? Absolutely. I found an 8x14 legal paper. It makes a great placemat. You can put the agenda on the nation. Laser print them. Somebody got a laser printer. It's cheap to do. They work great. Send your agenda to the Grand Marshal and Grand Secretary as soon as possible. Once you have it fleshed out, and there's so they can see what's going on and see where they have to be, what they need to be doing as well. At least 1 week prior to district meeting, clear, if possible. You're going to have refreshment and fellowship, good meal, And you have the Grand Marshal do this because everybody supposedly is checking in with the Grand Marshal. Again, make sure you talk to the Grand Marshal so he knows you're going to have him introduce the Grand Lodge scene. Receiving an introduction of the Grand Master, this should be done by you and the host, or the worshipful master of the host lodge. Introduce him, stand up, grand honors, and then introduction of the brothers for the Grand South and Grand Secretary if they are present. You can introduce past deputies, introduce the worshipful masters of the district if they are not going to be giving a brief synopsis during your oral report. Reports. Okay, you're going to do 2 reports for your district meeting. An oral report that you'll be giving during the district meeting, and a written report that you're going to be submitting to the XCOM before your meeting. Hopefully, at least again a week, hopefully a lot earlier. The written report is where you put all the information is a little sensitive and maybe some negatives you don't really want to include during your oral report. It's something that includes everything. It's the written report of how you see your district. Your oral report you'll be giving emphasize the positives, highly successful programs, Masonic education, community outreach programs, lodge visitations, district events, memberships, degrees. Again, all the things that your does. You may have some challenges. You want to make it as positive as possible if you want to mention any challenges in your district. If you're going to have each worshipful master speak, make sure they know limited where worshipful masters have gone on for 5 or 6 minutes. No, 2 minutes maximum. And them know if they are going to be speaking report, don't repeat what they or what they're doing for community outreach. Grand Lodge Committee and Chairman reports, to me, that's highly optional. If you have a committee chair who is in your district, you may want to speak as Masonic education. Entertainment education, the Grand Master has requested that you have some kind of a Masonic education or a speaker at the meeting. If you do, make sure it's entertaining for everybody, even our non-Masonic guests. Yes, the history of the shrine is fascinating, but probably not to the daughter of the June of 666, okay? Make sure that each lodge, if they're going to do awards, 1 minute per award. Most of the district meetings are going to be pretty well timed, so they are not longer than 100 minutes. So make sure everybody is very concise. Okay, the Grand Master can present the award, the lodges can present their awards, then you have the Grand Lodge officers introduce, meet, questions for the Grand Line, and finally comments from the Grand Master. These are just some of the things we suggest you have in your district meeting. Okay, there you are, doing your oral report. You call upon the worshipful master of Dreary Lodge 666. Worshipful master, would you speak about your lodge? He looks at you, shakes his head and shrugs his shoulders. He doesn't have anything. He doesn't know what's going on at all. What do you do? Not a rhetorical question again. Unmute. Yes, Pat.
You should know a little bit about what's going on in the lodge anyway. So if he stumbles, you can bring up some points, and that might spur him to carry that on.
Okay, good. Anybody else?
Yeah, that's my suggestion, is to tell them what you want to tell them. Tell them what you want to tell us. And it's okay to say, hey, Mike, tell us about how you did that up there and how'd that work out for you. It's a pretty interesting process, that sort of thing.
Okay, good.
You can lead the worshipful master by asking him questions that are pertinent to what your district meeting is.
Correct.
Good. Anyone else? All great suggestions. Yeah, you probably are going to have a suspicion if he didn't for information that he's probably not right on the mark on his responses, etc. Yes, you can get information from Grandview. You should have a few notes on every lodge, even if the worshipful master is going to speak. And you know, you can even get a hold of the secretary and find out information. You probably are going to have a pretty good suspicion on which lodges are going to be up, ready, and prepared, and which lodges may be lagging behind a little bit. So, you know, be prepared, even for every lodge. You know, who knows? You may have a worshipful master who all of a sudden has the flu, is get called out of town, whatever, is not able to attend. And so, you know, you ask the senior warden and he goes, the worshipful master had all the information. Again, you know, forewarned is prepared. So, you've allotted 10 minutes for the Grand Line to answer questions and speak your Grand Warden 10 minutes, and it appears he's planning to speak much longer. Grandmaster hasn't even spoken yet. What do you do?
Well, I think it's time to give them the time limit. Give you a couple of minutes, tell us what you're going to do, or give us 2 minutes worth of what's going on.
He says, hopefully you've already. Grand Line has 10 minutes to speak. He is well aware of it.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to step in and just thank him for what he said so far. And, you know, you'd like to hear from the junior Grand Warden and the other elected officers in the time that's remaining. This guy's already been talking for over 10 minutes. I mean, the Grand Master himself should have stepped in and done something.
Yeah. And unfortunately, this is not an uncommon situation. Yes. And there is no correct or great answer. It's one of those, you know, what do you do? Oh, geez, I don't know. Yeah, you can say, you know, right worshipful, thank you. We'd love to hear from you, but we'd also need to hear from the Grand Master. So what if it's the Grand Master? We've had a few Grand Masters that really like to speak. You got 10 minutes allotted. The Grand Master's going on for 15 minutes. You know he's not even halfway through. You do.
If the Grand Master wants to talk, he can talk until he's blue in the face, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, come on, David. Stand up there. Tell him.
Well, Chris, if it was most worshipful brother Chris, I could probably do that. But I can think of a past Grand Master that I'd be a little reluctant. I had to throw in a little. You know me down here in 19, rule number 3.
Well, usually the reason you have all these allotted times is because the grand electeds may have 2 or 3 district meetings they need to get to that day. And the Grand Master is very aware of it. If the Grand Master is speaking for 20 minutes and you have 10 minutes allotted, no advice or no opinions for you. Good luck. I do like, very worshipful John Henry Williams, who was a past district deputy and wow, way back District 32 when District 2 was District 32, actually had one said 5 minutes, one said 3 minutes, one said 2 minutes, and one said sit down. He actually went to the Grand Master beforehand and said, hey, is this okay? And the Grand Master said, yeah, I love it. That's okay. So you can come up with some creative ideas. Again, good luck. All right. We talked about timing your agenda. Have a timed agenda. Again, the Grand Marshal is going to send out an agenda outline, but it's a very bare bones outline. So if you're going to have a meal first or the meal last, you still need to have a timed agenda. 5 minutes for welcoming remarks by the deputy. And by the way, have them written down. You can use bullet points. You probably hear this at every one of our sessions. Write it down. I've been doing this for some 20 years. 2 years ago, I thought, hey, I got this, not a problem. Stood up, went absolutely blank. So have something to refer to. Have it written down. All right. Who's going to do the benediction or the grace before the meal? Again, have somebody and make sure they know it. Don't just pick somebody at the last minute. District announcements for 10 minutes. Introduction of the brethren who made themselves available for the Grand South and the Grand Secretary of President. You can ask the most worshipful to do those introductions for about 5 minutes. Entertainment or education, again, Grand Master would like to have some kind of education or speaker. And have a good meal. You know, cream chicken on toast probably is not going to be the favorite of everybody. So have a good meal. All right. Now, the whole meeting, including the meal, should take no more than 1 hour and 40 minutes. This is a timed agenda, and it allows you a little float time. It's just an example. You need to have a timed agenda of everything you're going to be doing so that if you are halfway through with your timed agenda and it's been 1 hour and 30 minutes, you know you're in trouble, okay? You need to have this timed agenda. During the meeting, you can introduce the masters in the district, the past deputies. You can also do some of this during the meal. Grand Lodge team, again by the Grand Marshal, 10 minutes. Receiving of the Grand Master, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. The oral report, if each worshipful master is going to present 2 minutes on the specifics. If you have 7 lodges in your district, you need to make sure you adjust your timed agenda accordingly. I think we have one district that has 10 lodges. District to do the oral just thought. All right. Awards. Grand Master's Achievement Award by the Grand Master. Meet the Grand Lodge elected officers and the Grand Master and questions for the Grand Line. Closing by the Grand Master. All of these up. I think you have about 10 minutes of fender, but here again, this is just presented so you have a timed agenda so you know where you should be during your meeting. Okay. Anybody got questions or comments, please jump in.
How are we going to do this on Zoom?
I do it on as far as what? The entire meeting?
Yeah.
Or you're talking about doing a timed agenda or what specifically?
Specifically, I'm interested in how I'm going to set up the Zoom session and how we actually run the thing over Zoom, because it's going to be different than face to face, at least as I see it.
Okay. Actually, just like this Zoom meeting, you can contact Right Worshipful Clint, and he's the one, and the Right Worshipful Ed are the ones who set up through Grand Lodge Zoom to have a Zoom meeting. And again, your agenda, you will be the host. You will be the one that will be running the Zoom meeting. You can have a co-host to kind of keep you technically updated, like I do with Ed, who when I stray, I have a little electronic collar he hits. So,
All right.
but specifics of it, a little session on Zoom. What do you do? How do you do it? Where do you set it up? How do you send out invitations? All of those things. And what should be included in your Zoom meeting. And I'm talking with
Bob,
Worshipful Chris.
do we have a template for that? Do we have anything? Did the Grandmaster send out a template for a Zoom agenda?
Send it out to the deputies or talk to the deputies. I have one I will send out.
Fantastic. Okay.
And
I'm assuming it's just going to be like an hour, right? They're not going to go the full.
Oh, no, well, no, not going to have any food, meal. Well, actually, yeah. Have everybody grab a sandwich and bring it and put it in front of their computer. Yeah. That's one of the things I didn't ask, length of the meeting. So I will find out and email the agenda to these.
Yeah, all those things are what I need.
What we need to do. I'm sorry, John, I didn't catch that.
I say all of the things that we just talked about here are the stuff that I'm going to need to set this up. I got three out of 4 of my lodges. I'm going to have to go train on how to do Zoom to begin with.
Yes.
I don't know whether anybody else is faced with that kind of a situation, but we're in an area where there's limited internet connections and limited skills. So I'm not whining. It's just something I got to do.
Okay. Actually, I find Zoom a lot easier than Skype or GoToMeeting or a few others, especially for people who have not used it before. Because basically, you just click on it, and again, that's something we can talk about.
What did I add?
Zoom training, a virtual Zoom meeting for a district. So
yeah,
let me get working on that one.
Could I add a quick comment?
Absolutely.
Very worshipful brothers, I would recommend that you do a couple of test drives ahead of time, more of a social Zoom meeting ahead of time. I've got 7 lodges. Most of them are doing them on a regular basis. One doesn't know how to turn on their computer. So we had a Zoom meeting, district Zoom meeting, and I made fun of it a little bit, called it a Zoom meeting. Followed an agenda, kind of similar to a district meeting, but just kind of chatted with everybody and made them feel good. But it kind of gets them in the mood, makes it a little bit easier when you actually end up having to do a true annual district meeting via Zoom. Might help.
great ideas.
Yeah, Bill. Thank you. That is, matter of fact, I wrote that one down. That's a good point. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, Kovac here. See, I might just mention for the Grand Master's reception at the district meeting, you might, in the invitation itself, put the agenda down already so that people know what's going to be coming up and when they're going to be on tap if they're a worshipful master, and they get an idea of what's going to come forward rather than wait till the meeting itself and then maybe try to post something, just before the meeting, which people won't have time to read.
Good catch. Thank you, Richard. Yes. Send out your agenda to the worshipful master and secretaries. Need to add that. Yes.
Could you send me a copy of this outline for your district meeting and report? That would be very helpful to me, being a first-time deputy, to be able to set up my agenda and meeting dates and the whole ball of wax?
Yes. Actually, well, this is in your deputy's handbook.
Well-
Except for, I mean, the example of the timed agenda, et cetera, is in your deputy handbook. Most of it's under the appendix. There is a quick shot on, I think it's chapter 8, I can't recall, in there. However, you want specifically the agenda and
I'd like your printout here because it's much clearer than what's in the deputy handbook. I've been sitting here thumbing through it as we go along, and I don't see these notes written in a form that I can understand very well.
Oh, okay, not a problem. Yeah, the handbook is supposedly a synopsis of our workshops. But yes, as a matter, this is being recorded also, Don, so you can actually go to a link. But what you would like to have is the actual presentation. Oh, you're muted, Dan.
So I can go through it and set up my meeting using this outline that you presented to us and maybe make it a little easier for me to do my thing.
Okay, sure. You let me jot a few things quickly down.
Yeah, Bob
the-
Kovac, I think what he needs is just the printout of the PowerPoint that you're putting on right now.
Oh, actually, yeah, I can do that. Is actually put these into, say, like a Word document and send them out.
Yeah.
That'd be wonderful.
That'd be
I would
great.
ditto that request.
Bob, I'd like to request that too, please.
There you go, Bob. You're popular again.
Hey, yeah, it's so fleeting, though.
I know. Fame can be infamous too.
It's
Well, another reason that it's important is that because of the complexities of everything that's going on this meeting, I get maybe 3 out of every 4 words. So,
oh dear, am I still breaking up?
oh yes.
Oh crud. Okay,
Yeah,
I gotta figure
Fix your
something
file.
out. Wow. Okay, well, yeah, I gotta get a hold of my provider then. This just isn't right.
Yeah,
There's a
Bob.
possibility you could call in and use your actual phone for doing the audio part, and then you have that won't be breaking up while you're doing the rest of it, and it won't use up any of your bandwidth. That might help.
You know, I may try that for our next one. Is just use the phone instead. Make myself a note here.
Yeah, Bob, I don't know what you did on your last meeting last week, but you never cut out once. And now I don't know what happened.
It's odd because I'm doing the same thing. I'm not uploading my video image, and that's what I did last week. Not sure what's going on. Okay, well, I'll try using the phone next week. The appendix, but basically you want to have all of the things that you're going to be talking about in your oral report in a little more detail on membership. You know, if you have a worshipful master who's struggling with what's going on there, concerns, district focus. Are you doing things that they're good, positive, or are there some problems with the district itself? Ritual. If you have a specific lodge that it has concerns, the written report is the place where you put those concerns down. I don't know how many districts have a Lodge Officers Association or an SLOC or some kind of association so all the lodge officers meet on, say, a monthly basis. If you don't have something like that, it takes a little bit of effort to get something going, even if it is a conference call with the worshipful masters, to get lodges to talk to each other. Lodge visitations, do a summary for the Grand Master of your district in your written report. So basically, these are all the things that are going on. Here's my concern here. Here's my concern in summary. We're doing great except for these areas of concern, and this is how we're going to address them. Have a survey so that you get some feedback from your district meeting. Great. And everybody like dinner? Everybody like liver and onions? The district meeting itself, how was anything approved? Want Grand Lodge contact you, Grand Lodge committee to contact you? Any additional comments? Hey, thank them for attending. What you want to do, this is just a quick example. What you want to do is have something to give you some feedback on how your district meeting went. You can do it online with if you do a virtual district meeting. Make yourself a prep sheet for the day of the event, things that you need to have ready for that day so you can check them off. Are you giving a gift for the Grand Master? Is it wrapped? Is it ready? Award certificates, are they all signed? Is the Grand Master bringing the Grand Master's Achievement Award? If you're having an actual meeting, it's a good idea to reserve a spot for the Grand Master to park, possibly even the electeds. Don't forget your thank yous, kitchen crew, setup crew, youth groups. Thank your wife for her support. You do have to go home after the meeting, all right? Flowers are always nice. Thank everybody for attending. And please fill out those surveys. Get that feedback. You do need to have a budget. What is it going to cost to put on your meeting? Do you have to do the rental of the meeting or of the building? Hires from each lodge. How are you going to do it? You're going to have a budget, and you want to stay within that budget. All right? Stay on time. Stay on schedule. Stay on time. Remember, the may have there as soon as it's done. So you may want to appoint a timekeeper. Start on time, end on time. Fun. Don't make this a drab and dreary meeting. For Masters versus the Grand Line. Maybe Masonic trivia, again with cheap and cheesy prizes. Hey, you got that one right. Here's a number 2 pencil with a full eraser on it. Congratulations. A dessert auction from the youth groups. This, we actually have done this at the last of our couple of district meetings, very successful. Have the Jobies or Rainbow have an envelope at each table. The envelope with the most money gets to choose the first dessert. And so far down the line, I think we raised well over $1,000 for the youth groups. A report, this is what's going on, etc. Okay, if you plan your district meeting, hey, it is not going to be that hard. If you got it planned out and you delegate it out, it's going to be a breeze. Trust me. All right. We ran through it pretty quickly. I will get this out to you. If you have questions or concerns or anything, That's why the the deputy resource team is here. You can call us, you can email us, ask us questions, ask your past deputies to help you. It is not an insurmountable thing. The district meeting seems to be one of the things that new deputies have the most concern about. If you plan it out, it'll be great. And like with anything you plan, there's going to be something that's going to go sideways. You can't control that. It's just going to happen. Just go with the flow. All right? Next section. Okay, I think we're going to probably be doing virtual OVs and virtual district meetings if I can get it together by next week. So that probably was going to be our next district meeting or our next workshop session. So, anybody got gripes? Help, hearing none. Questions? Comments?
Hey, Bob, next week is Labor Day. Would it be better?
Oh.
Now that we have everybody here, maybe we should do it like the following week?
Oh, hang on. I'm looking at my calendar. Oops. That's October. I don't want that. Oh, September. Holy cow. Oh, yes. No, I don't have anything for the 6th. It will be the 13th.
Thank you, Michael.
Yes. Nasty. Didn't I say way back when Labor Day, shame on you? Didn't I do that in a previous workshop somewhere?
No, you didn't.
Oh, dear. Oh, no. Okay.
Hey, Bob Kovac here.
Yeah.
Just a quick comment here. Especially for the first time district deputies, what you want to start out with is get a host lodge lined up. One of the lodges that has got a good meeting place, has a decent kitchen, and get that lodge, the lodge membership to buy in to being the host lodge for the Grand Master's reception. I did that with Doric, and those guys really jumped in on this thing and did a great job. The other thing we did was we not only had a written agenda of what was going to happen, we had a written chef's menu that was handed out. So everybody knew what they were eating, which was, I mean, it wasn't a big deal, but it was cute.
Oh,
it was
I like
fun.
that too.
Yeah. And for our entertainment, and I guess because it was me, we did a musical tribute to the Grand Master. And, we did a song to him dedicated, or which was based on the bullfighter's song in Carmen, analogizing the Grand Master to a great bullfighter who always stands up and fights for what's right. And then at the end, we presented him with a pair of boxing gloves that had the logo, the square and compasses on each of the the gloves. They were blue, Masonic blue boxing gloves, and we were able to get, I guess Sandy Lascano was able to not engrave but stencil on the square and compasses. It was a big hit. It was a big hit.
Yep, that's great. Here again, liven up your district meeting. Make it a little bit of, jazz it up a little bit. Heaven's sakes, if you're gonna have non-Masonic guests, make sure you include them. Make sure you have something to include everybody, so it's not just here's a report, let's introduce. Use your imagination. Thank you, Richard. That was good. Okay. Any other comments? Questions?
I think this is going to look a little different with so many of them being on Zoom meetings until we start meeting again.
Again, a full meeting in a lodge in setup. I'm going to try and get something together for virtual OVs and a virtual district meeting. I do have a little bit of input from Most Worshipful Chris. See if we can flesh out a little bit more and give you some pretty good tips and agendas for your OVs and your district meetings.
Could you please invite Bob and I so we could, whoever is having the next Zoom meeting, so that we could see what's happening, and that way we could help and include that in our next training or in another training.
Yes, please.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Everybody getting candidates from Grand Lodge? Right Worshipful Brother Clayton sending you possible candidates? Okay, I will tell you that they are checking back. You give it to a lodge, they're going to check back and say, okay, what's happening with this candidate? What is happening with this candidate? And, you know, where's this one gone to? What's going on with the candidate? So you need to make sure you're checking back with the lodges to find out what progress is being taken with those candidates. Are they being contacted? You know, what's going on with them? The question for you: give a candidate to a lodge. You check back in a week, nothing's happened. Check back in 3 weeks, nothing's happened. What do you think you should do?
Call
Call
a worshipful master.
Okay. And, well, yeah, if you, after a week you call the worshipful master, he says, yeah, we got to get to that. Okay. You call him back in 3 weeks. Oh, geez, we got to get to that. Yeah, okay. Nothing's happened.
There is a capability at some point where you can reassign that candidate to a different lodge.
Kinda. Because that, Bob, I got notice from Clayton, about 4 months ago. And I contacted him via email to ask where he lived. And he actually lives in Ballard. And so I connected him with Doric. And what ended up happening was, you know, because COVID and whatever, some of the guys, they weren't able to contact them. So I just went on, well, I know one of the guys from Doric, so I contacted him on Facebook and said, hey, are there some guys around that might be able to, you know, talk and meet up with him? Well, they tried to meet up with him, but because of COVID and whatever, they weren't able to actually, you know, physically meet for a couple weeks. So I met him. I met him at the Nile at the golf club and talked to him for, probably close to an hour. And then the guys from Doric were able to contact him after that. So my recommendation is, you know, they will send you the person's personal information, but they won't necessarily say what lodge he should go to or where he lives. So it's kind of up to you to determine, you know, what the best fit may be for him, since every lodge has a different personality.
Bob, I'll tell you, we've had about 4 down here since springtime, and the resource support team down here, and I usually try to join them. Usually meet with the individual the first meeting. We do not recommend any lodge to them. We send them information about all 6 lodges down here. One, unfortunately, we had to refer over to Portland because he lives in Oregon. We can't help him. But, you know, at least the resource team is out there doing something for what it's worth.
I think that's really helping is Right Worshipful Edwards starting over again and doing his 6-step program that starts again next week, and plugging those candidates into that. And also the some of your EAs and your fellow craft that are feeling lonely, they haven't been able to advance, maybe they've not been able to meet with their coaches on a real regular basis because of the virus, and it just kind of renews their enthusiasm. And I'm getting feedback from those people that we've plugged into that program, and it's all been good.
I've contacted the candidates from time to time that have not responded and have not been accessed by any of the lodges that I've sent to. But I call them, I find out where they live and see which lodge closest to them may work. That has happened, but a lot of those brothers or gentlemen that I've called back, don't answer their phone, don't return emails. And so I'm not quite sure what to do with that. I have assigned everybody to a particular lodge and have recontacted the worshipful masters and secretaries of the lodges to see if they've been in contact with them. And they're not even responding back. So I find that quite an issue, is that the officers are not calling back and checking on their candidates.
That is a big concern. Yeah, getting the candidates to call back can be a little difficult. I've had the same experience with a couple of candidates. Well, first off, let me say I highly recommend Right Worshipful Ed's the 6-step. It's not just about 6-step. It really encourages candidates to ask questions, and there's a great exchange not only between the candidates but between the brethren too. Highly recommend that for, again, not just the candidates, but entered apprentice and fellow crafts who want to move on and ask.
You may already be aware of this, but it is possible for the deputy to update information about that candidate in Grandview, including the location and address for that candidate. So generally I call them, get the address, fill it in, and then use that. In addition, you can add comments to that so that every time there's a contact with that candidate, you should be making an entry in there as a comment so that the people can follow what's going on.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I don't use Grandview a lot because I'm not a lodge secretary, never have been. So, yeah, please let me know what things can be done in Grandview. Thank you, Mark. I would also have you, like Jerry, advise Clayton, Right Worshipful Brother Clayton, that you know, the candidate may not be in your district. He lives in Ballard. He would be in this district or that district, but you have contacted him so that you know, the information gets correct at Grand Lodge. Also, I like the, you know, here again, my personal opinion. I know you ask me, what is your opinion? Let me tell you. Hey, my personal opinion is, you find out where the candidate lives. You say, okay, what you need to do is maybe contact 2 or 3 lodges and go and see which lodge you think is going to be the best fit for you. It may be a little difficult right now, but I'm going to give you the names of the masters and secretaries of 3 different lodges or 2 lodges that you may want to contact. Then contact those lodges and say, oh yeah, here's a possible candidate for you. And oh, by the way, I also gave the name to this lodge. So you may want to contact him fairly soon. So that can give it a little impetus to both get candidate contacted. And again, Right Worshipful Ed's 6-step Zoom meetings are really a great way to get candidates involved.
So is that something that Clayton can pass on to the candidate about the 6-step, meeting with Ed? Because you know, by the time somebody tracks him down from one of the lodges, you know, Ed may have gone through 3 or 4 sessions already.
Well, he's already gone through a complete set of sessions. He's starting them over again.
Yeah, well, I'm talking for new candidates coming in. I mean,
yeah.
You know, the new candidates that pop up.
And there is a way for them to access a recorded session, but it's always best to be on a live session. And it's something you can do as a deputy. You tell them, okay, you know, we're going to see if we can find someone at this lodge, someone at this lodge, sit down with you and talk to you. Also, here is a link to a 6-step program where you can ask some questions as well. So,
Well,
yes.
This is Bill Hubbard. All of my lodges are in one county, Kitsap County. So my candidates, frankly, can go to almost any of the lodges. So what we do is I have past deputies that helped me in making contact with these individuals. And we ask them what day of the week can they devote to this, basically in their schedule, what day of the week. And that really determines which lodge makes the most sense. Because
that's a great one.
Then it's assigned to an actual lodge, and we follow up with them. And since it's been given to more than one lodge, they're told, you need to move with this, or somebody else will have it.
Yep, absolutely. Anything we can do to get lodges to contact candidates. I like the Bill. I like the what day are you available? That's a great question to ask.
Yeah, and even better is, why don't you just give the candidate the locations and meeting times of the lodges in his area? That way, you can cut down a lot of potential phone calling that results in a conflict for the candidate.
Absolutely, that's what you should be doing, is saying, okay, you're located in Center City. Here's 3 lodges around Center City. These are the dates they meet. I like that. And determine which lodge is best for you, and I'll have them contact you. So,
the way this conversation is going, it sounds to me as though some lodges are able to meet face to face today. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct. No.
Okay.
However,
we're talking land here right now. Then,
you can meet face to face with a candidate with proper social distancing.
Yeah.
And proper procedure. And you can actually have 2 brothers meet with one candidate. Again, proper social distancing, masks, etc. So.
Sure. Okay.
So yeah, I don't think we're going to be meeting anytime soon again. So, which is another question on how we're going to do a number of things. But I think the Grand Master is having a session on, is it Thursday?
Yes, the 3rd.
It's the 3rd, yeah.
That's the forum day.
Yes. And may have some information.
You can whack him with the same old question, when we're going to open. I'm sure he's going to give you the same answer. But at least you can try again.
Yeah,
I watch the news, so I can pretty well tell when the governor gives us an opportunity to do this, we'll probably be off and running. But the unfortunate thing is that because we're creatures of habits in our Masonic world, we're going to want to get caught up really fast, and everybody will be doing it. And it's going to be kind of a traffic jam for a little bit.
Yeah, and it's going to be. I don't think we're going to be able to meet before next year, in my opinion. And the Grand Master isn't the one who's going to be determining when we're going to meet. It's going to be the state of Washington and the health department. So we can ask him, but he's not the one who's going to determine when we can meet.
We just know how to do this really well.
So yeah, and one of the other things that I'd like to discuss sometime in one of our workshops is, what can we do to assist lodges to have meetings, have a Zoom meeting or a Skype meeting or whatever? What should they be discussing? How should they be doing the meeting? What things can they be doing, and what things they can't be doing? So everybody has my email. Please, flood me with suggestions and input. So,
cool.
With that, whoops. Oh, okay, that was it. Again, give us your feedback. Give us everything you like, you don't like. Gee, I need this better. This is, Bob needs to use his phone because he cuts out all the time. Whatever info that can help you and have us make this, better workshops, better presentations, more information. So, any other questions, comments?
No, if we want to do practice Zoom meetings, how do we set those up?
Allergies don't have a bedtime, so take Xyzal at night.
Whoops. Hey, time to go.